Hello, my name is Alice Bradley and I'm a Homeworks by Precept consultant representing BJU Press. We have 5 children, 1 son and 4 daughters, and we've been using BJU Press for 22 years. We have 2 in college, 2 out of college, and I am currently homeschooling a junior in high school. Today, I want to talk to you about our high school 7th through 12th grade English. Pretty much it's set up the same way from 7th through 12th grade. We have literature. It's called the English, whether it's like this one is English 11. We have American Lit, and we also have writing and grammar. And if you choose, you can add to it our vocabulary. Now the vocabulary is not in video lessons, but you can just add it in wherever you want. The first thing we're going to talk about is the writing and grammar. The writing and grammar is what we do first because our children love to read, and if we let them do literature, they would never do writing and grammar. But we want them to get this down pat. So we go ahead and do this first because we want to make sure this gets accomplished. Our philosophy is a little bit different. We feel that if our children can communicate verbally and on paper, in writing, and can critically think, then they can learn any job. So we really put a lot of time into the writing and grammar to make sure they have it down well so they can be good writers and good communicators. The way that we set it up, the first thing, first part of writing grammar is the writing. You'll notice in the chapter table of contents, you'll see that each chapter has a writing assignment. This is an interview, there's a critical response to literature, and we go ahead, there's 15 of them here, there's 15 chapters, each chapter has a writing assignment. We can't do all those, so we cut it in half. This is where the advice I give my customers all the time, you control the curriculum, it doesn't control you. You only have so many hours in the day, you have to make it work. So this is how we make it work. We pick 7 or 8 each year. We go through, we might pick 3 and have our children pick the other 5, or vice versa. We do 4 and they do 4, whichever. We like them to be able to choose what they want to write because that will help them. If they're excited about writing about that particular topic or area in whatever it is, that they're going to be more excited about writing about it. Like for instance, one of them was doing a brochure, and we had just been to the Grand Canyon. So my daughter picked that one and wrote all about the Grand Canyon, including pictures that she had taken while she was there. And that made it really fun and exciting for her. So that's why we let them have a part in choosing. Once we've decided what they are, we make a list of them. Here's the 8 we're going to do this year. And then what we do is we go ahead and get the rubrics. A rubric is what the BJU Press provides so that you can grade it, which I am extremely thankful for because I didn't always know through the years how to grade. So they tell me exactly what we're going to need. Now I hand these to my student when they watch all the videos, and then when the 8 that we have chosen to do comes up, then we make a due date for it. But they pull out the rubric while they're writing it. This tells them exactly what I'm going to grade on. And there's no mystery. I know what I'm going to grade on. They know what I'm going to grade on. And then when they're finished, they take their paper and they staple the rubric to the top of it and they hand it in. No mystery there. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of things that we do for grading we've learned over the years. There's one part of this. Normally you put all of the numbers in. If they got all the points, you put the points in. But there's an important part at the bottom. If you can see, it says, overall, the writing was, that's really important. Writing is very difficult. And so over the years, I've learned through the distance learning teachers who have been so wise and taught me so much that how to do that. And we do that in our family. One of the things our children said, make sure you tell the moms not to use red. Red's aggressive. Red is, it just is going to rip apart my paper. And so if that's the case, then you want to pick a color. Pick a happy color, a color that your child likes, and use that to write in the comments. And as you write in the comments, make sure that you say, you know, I love the way you did this. I love the way you picked this topic, and your topic sentences were great, and you were so creatively put it together. It was a beautiful. I love the way you did that. It was beautiful. So, you know, encourage first, and then go ahead in and say, okay, you know, be careful though that you need to watch out for your spelling, or be careful about the comma places. You had a couple of those in there, and we need to make sure that we, you know, correctly punctuate those. And then we go back to the writing grammar, find about comma places, go over that, and take their sentence and say, okay, how can we fix this so that it would be grammatically correct? So it ends to be a fun thing, and they leave thinking, hey, I wrote something good, and you really want it to be positive. The next thing we do is then we just continue on through the video lessons. But sometimes my children will come to me and say, Mom, sentences, I know them like the back of my hand. Do I have to do this? So I say, okay, you know, sometimes they do know it. Sometimes you never know. So what we do is we will then pull out from the back the chapter review, and we will let them take the chapter review. If they can get it, we make them a deal. If you can get an A or above, then we can skip that chapter. And now, have they skipped a lot of chapters? No, they've not. But here and there they can. Sometimes nouns, I can do those, and they might do them. But then when it comes to verbs or adverbs, they don't know those well enough. That's okay. I'm not going to take the chapter review. I'm just going to do the chapter. So that's a way that you can speed them up or slow them down however you need to. But that's what we've used, and it works for us. Then you can also, anywhere in there, add the vocabulary. The vocabulary takes about 15 minutes. You can use it once a week, every other week. There's only 15 lessons. There is also in the back another, the same thing kind of as in the other, the writing and grammar book. There is a chapter review. And a lot of times I would use those as tests to make sure that my child was understanding the vocabulary. Now, I talked with my daughter who is out of college. She has her master's in English, and she's now currently working. And I asked her about the vocab. And she said that the vocab was very helpful in taking the ACT and the SAT. It would help her exposure to words, vocabulary that she didn't know. And then she could learn the prefixes, suffix, and the Latin in there, so that she could decode the words. Even if she wasn't sure about it, she could pretty well come up with what it was. And she also, another thing that we did was that we would take the vocabulary words, and then we would use them also as spelling words, because we don't have any spelling words in the high school, but you could use them as spelling words as well. And it was good practice to understand more vocabulary. And the better your vocabulary, the better you're going to be able to read, and the better vocabulary you can use to communicate. So then the second semester, which we said sometimes we'd go a little longer because we wanted to make sure that writing grammar was really firm, and then we would put in the literature stories, which they all love to read, and we'd get as far as we could with that. Some of the things, as I was talking with my daughter who graduated and is out, as well as with my son, they were saying that the things that they learned in literature were huge. Some of the things, she gave me a list of things that she said. She said it was a good basis for college English, and she even ended up going on and getting her master's in English. It touched on all the classical stories. It was just, it helped her think critically. It helped her to analyze the story or the situation. What indicators were there that were that showed that situation, maybe perhaps the character shouldn't do certain things, or indicators that were there that were showing that they should do the right thing. It taught her really to look for details. She said it exposed her to the classics. It helped her to be well-rounded, to think critically, to learn from situations, that how to react in different situations, to make analysis of the characters. Did they change, and how did they change? Did they change for the better? And she said it was just key in there. So even if your child isn't thinking about going to college, whatever God has for them to do, it's going to really teach them to critically think through situations. So this is how we use it in our class. It's just, our homeschool, it's just a suggestion for how you could use it. You can change it any way up that you want, but this is how we used it. It's been a blessing to us, and I trust that it's going to be a blessing for you as well. Adapt it as you need. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to your homeworks consultant. If I can help you in any way, feel free to contact me. But I think you're going to enjoy it as much as our family has.